Hi, my name is Wilx, and this is episode 3 of Project Ozone 3. 3 and 3, that's like saying 11:11 on a clock. Well, today we're going to make some zinc armor. We're going to set up our first power system. We're going to make some black quartz. We're going to set up a lens of the miner system. And we're going to get set up for next episode, so we're going to get started on some plastic and create a portal to the void, which is a new dimension I haven't worked with before. In between episodes, I've upgraded to 3.0.37. Actually, I say upgraded, but that's not really what I did. I did a new install of the pack rather than updating the pack. The reason that I do that is, and I recommend this all the time to you guys, and I'm going to recommend it again because there was problems on this one that I made use of it. Notice down here, my bag's no longer there. And it wiped out everything that was in my bag. So what I did was I went back to my previous version because I had a separate instance for it. I took and put the stuff from my bag into this chest here. Then copied over the save game to the new version, and then when the bag went away, it didn't matter. I've still got all my stuff sitting over there. And this has saved me a bunch of times through different flaws and problems with the game. I highly recommend it because it can wipe out all sorts of things for you if you're not careful. Just a better way of backing up because you still keep the old instance. All right, there's been a whole bunch of changes to this, not just the chest, or sorry, the bag. For instance, the feral flare lanterns went away. The whole mod Torchmaster went away. So I came back to this instance, and I was in a blood moon on a dark island. Now, conveniently, mine is all in the safe zone. It's less than 24 from spawn. The only part that's not was over there, and it was well lit anyways. So I was fine. To replace them, what I did was I made these tiny progression lamps, which is basically just a torch inside a piece of glass. That's it. They're very easy to make. They place nicely in the floor. I think they look okay. So I went with them, and they're cheap. What else changed? All right, I made actually a bunch of changes to the pack. There was a very good post out on Reddit. And what he had was an underpowered laptop, and he wanted to be able to play the game on it. So he came up with a whole list of mods to delete from the pack, or at least disable from the pack, some other mods to include in the pack, and some configuration changes. I'm going to put a link to that in a comment on this video. Now, I deleted most of the stuff that he suggested deleting, but I left in lag goggles because I'll make use of that. And I left in tip the scales because I'm not going to be using Optifine. The reason I don't use Optifine is it can cause problems for other mods. And if a mod is having a problem, the first thing you got to do before you report it is take Optifine out, test it, see if it works, and then if it's still a problem without Optifine, then you can report it. Well, I like to be able to report the bugs that I find. So that's just too much of a pain. Now, if I had a laptop that couldn't run without Optifine, of course I would install it, but I avoid it as best I can. He also suggested things like TextFix, which I will not be installing. TextFix, it decreases the amount of memory you need, but it increases the load time. And it's already taking me just under 5 minutes to load this up. I don't want it to take any longer. I am adding 3 that he did suggest, though. Smooth Font, Tick Dynamic, and Vanilla Fix. Now, if you're adding Vanilla Fix, I will list some changes in the description of this. Not the description, in the post, the comment. as to how to change it over so that you don't end up with a problem, because VanillaFix will find problems in other mods, and it'll give you warnings, and these big warning notices will come up and cover up your mini-map and cover up your inventory space and stuff. So I switch it over so that it just goes in the log and not instead of showing me on the screen, because if I don't know how to fix it, I don't need to see the warning. All right, a few other changes that I made other than just the lamps was I've set myself up a smeltery. But let's cover some of the comments that other people made. For instance, Less Evil suggested that I wrap more dirt around this so that it can all turn into mycelium, and that barrel will be a lot faster. I switched this all around for my piping. So now the fluid comes down from there, the sand came in from here, and they both come in through the same pipe into the top. And I got one coming out the bottom to press the soul sand out here. And I got 5 stacks of it, and I don't need any more than that. I'm going to be going to the Nether this episode anyway, so. I did set this up. I needed it to make the seared brick for the smeltery that I made over there. One suggestion that somebody made, let me show you by breaking this first. These porcelain faucets here do have one thing that's different about them. You can take a redstone and put it on top. Shift, there we go. And then you could run it all the way along them. Instead of the way I've done it over here for this, I did this before I knew about the porcelain ones. That was suggested by Marius. And if I'd used the porcelain ones, I could have run it along here, and I could have had this go up higher. If I do decide to make it any bigger, I will do that. But I already sank it an extra 2 into the floor, so I can do a whole stack at a time in there. And that's enough for me. If you want to see how I set this up, you're bothered that I didn't do it on camera, watch the episode from Direwolf 20. It's almost exactly the same. I did use slightly different piping, but other than that, I just used the extra utilities too here instead of the ducts, that's all. And that's about it. Oh, and as always, I put some aluminum brass in a tank here. It's connected to this with a flat transfer node, and then I can just make my molds by pouring it directly out of there. All right, couple of other suggestions. When I had mentioned that I was thinking of making a mob masher so I could put beheading on it, Shadow Productions reminded me that you need helms for that. And to make, for instance, an iron helm, you have to use this, and you use an osmium helm. And to get an osmium helm, you have to have a lead helm. To get a lead helm, you have to have a nickel helm, etc., etc., etc. So that's a pain in the butt. So what was suggested by Elcium is you can get the helms from mob drops and repair them and use them in the for beheading. So I might make the mob masher, put sharpness and the other things on it right away. And just when I get enough helms, I'll start increasing the beheading on it. All right, the one other suggestion somebody had, I'm not even sure if it was last episode, it might have been the episode before that, is that I make myself a sledge. And this basically replaces the hammers. And it's tinkerer, so it's repairable. I made it as steel just because it's fat, it's got good durability, and used wood for the binding, so it got a little bit of repair, and copper for the tool rod because it gives me a little bit of experience when I do stuff. So I'll use that now instead of this guy. All right, next up. Actually, I don't need that clock right now. I can put it back later. Okay, so let's get started on this episode. One of the things I'm going to want to do for creating power is instead of using the blaze mesh like I did over here, I want to use heat sand. Heat sand's 120 instead of 30, whereas a torch is only 1. So I want to go get some heat sand from the Nether. To do that, I'm going to want some armor. Well, you saw the problem with armor. But we can make zinc armor right now from the extra planet stuff. And it doesn't have a problem with it. It's got the same specs as iron armor. So we can make a chest plate, a helm. Notice how those were sitting on one on top of the other. Over here I did the same thing with the leggings and the boots. See how it's set up? And then we can take those off, put this on. So at least I got a little bit of armor coverage. If I wanted better armor coverage, I could sieve down some netherrack, get some gems like rubies or sapphires or something, make some armor out of them, and it'd be a little bit better. It'd be like an 8 instead of 6. But it'd have much worse durability. But this is good enough for me. Now to replace the bag I lost, I'm going to go a different route this time. I've been getting the blaze rods by putting 2 of those together. You get 4 blaze rods that way. And that's obsidian and using fender pearls instead of ender pearls. So 2 ender chests. Then over here we're going to make 2 of the pouches. I showed you how to get leather before. And then we'll come over here and I'll put down my 2 ender chests. And then I need some sort of dye. So the only thing I got for now is blue. I'll have, once I get my atomic reconstructor up, I can make a lens of color and get lots of different ones. Well, I guess I got bone meal as well. So I put 1 on the first one here, 1 on the last one there. So those are 2 separate ender chests. And then we're going to shift right click. And that's marked this pouch for that one. And this pouch for that one. And then what I can do is I can put that there on the end. And I can put this one inside. So now I can fill this one up with all the stuff I need right away. And then if I ever have, I'm in the Nether or something and I need some place to put lots of stuff, I've got a second ender pouch that I can start shoving stuff in. And I don't even lose these if I die or whatever. And they don't cause as much lag when you're moving across the map. The things are treated like they're hidden in the chest, not like they're being carried on you. So that's good. Let's get a few things to put in there. What things do I want to carry with me? Well, normally I'm going to carry these and these. I'll get that. Get some cardboard boxes. Grab a wand. Get some crates. What else? Grab some cobble. Yeah, I'm not as worried about the other stuff for right now. I'll deal with all that later. And we'll just put these things in there. So they're handy if I want them. And let's get rid of this. Actually, did this have... Yeah, there we go. Let's put that in the bag too. Okay. So, now, I guess we're ready. We're off to the Nether. Oh, I had planned on making one of these lasers. But then I remembered you have to power the thing. So that was of no use to me. I have to wait till we have power. So let's go over here. And we're going to jump off the edge. Remember, I have created I've got cheats on so I can get back without any problems. And then... Geronimo! And let's see where we end up. Are we going to end up in a good spot? Because it's totally random. You don't always show up in the same spot. Is that heat sand up there or is that a bush? Whoops, somebody's shooting at me. Heat sand. All right. Who's shooting at me? let's vein mine this. There, we got the heat sand that we were looking for. Let's go set a home down here somewhere. There, so that mobs can't shoot at me right away. Okay, we'll set a home right here. So it's set home, I think. Set home 2. I keep forgetting. Yep, home 2 is set. Now we can go back with home. Actually, we could, if you haven't set a home, you can go spawn. And if you don't have cheats enabled, you can open your game to LAN and type in spawn and go back that way. And later I'll go and I'll get a whole bunch of other things, but I just needed a little bit of heat sand. So that was convenient that that showed up right away. All right, so now that we've got that ready, let's come over here and get started on crafting stuff. So I decided that I was going to use the Magmatic Dynamos because they can go, with full upgrades, they can go to 600 RF per tick. And that sounded like a good deal to me, better than other generators that only do like 40 RF per tick total. So we'll make 10 of those. You do need Invar to do it, but I showed you how I was getting that. Now I can't make too many upgrades for them yet. I need things like pulverized obsidian and things, and I need to make a pulverizer yet once I have power. So I'm just making the hardened upgrades for right now. I'm making 11 of those, even though I made 10 of these. Then these are the upgrades that we put in them, the auxiliary transmission coils. They use silver. Notice how much quieter that is. I'll put this again in the comments for this video. Mark Sitza had shown me where to download the file in the last comments of the last video. So what you've got to do is you're downloading an rth.org file. You've got to rename it 11.org and replace the 11.org file. And I'll show you in the comments where to do that. So that's much quieter now. Because if you check, I have my sound back up to where it should be, like 50% volume, not like 10% volume. All right. I went down a rabbit hole. I was trying to figure out whether I thought that the enhanced energy conduit was going to be more or less laggy than the hardened and flux ducts. And there was too many variables. I couldn't come up with a proper test for it. These work in very different ways. This one automatically sends the energy directly from the power source to the machine that needs it instantaneously. However, that means it's got to poll every machine on the network to find out whether it needs power or not. So once you get a very long network, I'm not sure how much lag that creates. Whereas the flux ducts work in a very different way. They just filled each section of the thing. So the generator only has to say, oh, this section here needs power. I'm going to stick it in there. And then it moves down through the line, and then the machine pulls the power out of the piece of cable that it's attached to. So I don't know whether that creates more lag or less lag. I just don't know how it works. So I just went with the one I found the most convenient, and we'll get these ones. Because I couldn't figure it out. Too many variables involved to do testing. I went with the hardened fluid duct. You can't use the regular fluid duct from this because it'll blow up if you put lava in it, and I'm going to be putting lava in it. And the Ender IO one, I didn't have the materials to make the better ones yet, or the machinery actually to make the better ones yet. So I went, and their low end one doesn't go uphill, so that wasn't acceptable, and it wasn't fast enough. So I went with this one. I definitely went dense. You don't want to go, or opaque. Sorry, not dense, opaque. You don't want to go with the one where you can see the fluid in it because that creates extra lag. This pack is laggy enough as it is. And I went with these because Electrum's easy for me to get. The other ones were maybe a little more difficult. I needed at least Hardened, and I went one step better to Reinforced for the servos. Just because they were a little faster than the other ones. Now, we want to get ourselves some of the black quartz. The way you do that is you take a piece of coal, wrap it in nether quartz, and you get smoky quartz. Then you take the smoky quartz, you go stick it in the furnace, and out comes black quartz. So I'm going to make myself 2 atomic reconstructors, so I need 2 iron casings. And then we'll take our iron casings, we'll stick it in here. That gives us our atomic reconstructors. One for the lens of the miner, another one for other stuff. I only need 1 for now, but while I'm making them, I will make the 2. I need an energy cell because these things work a little differently. I'll go over that in a minute. I don't normally like to use energy cells because they create more lag, or any type of energy storage because they create more lag, but you do need them when you're using these things, and I'll show you why. Now, to set up the lens of the miner, I can't use an RF tools monitor this time because RF monitor. The RF monitor needs a machine frame, and the machine frame takes stuff I don't have access to yet. But but there is ways of doing it. I thought of 3 different ways of doing it. I went with this one because I thought it was one of the easiest ones to explain. I can use a logic gate though, because this thing here is not difficult to make. It's just some gold nuggets and some stone and regular comparators. So I am using a logic gate in it. I could do that with regular redstone wiring, but this just makes it more compact. And for the brains of the thing, I'm going to use some advanced redstone repeaters. I'm making 3 of those. They just give me better control and longer wait times and stuff if I wish than regular repeaters. Over here, we're going to need a couple of block placers. I need 1 for the lens of the miner and 1 for something else in a minute. And to make a lens, black quartz and glass, just the base lens. Then to make the lens of the miner, we put it inside this with all of these, and we've got our lens of the miner. And I'm going to use a mechanical miner rather than a block breaker because I can put a Fortune 3 book in it, which I happen to get a Fortune 3 book in a mob drop. So, well, actually, I guess it was from a loot bag. So I deliberately decided to use the mechanical miner to do that. You could do it with either a silk touch or a looting. I decided to go with the looting for now because, yeah, Fortune 3, there we go. Because I don't have the machinery to process it any better yet. If you want to know what I'm talking about, you can watch my, again, the Direwolf 20 ones. And so for instance, if you want more out of platinum and things like that. But in this case, I'll probably just go for more methods of creating them rather than improving the yields. Igneous extruder to make the stone. Absorption hopper just to suck up the extra experience. I love item conduits when it comes to moving stuff around. And then this thing's going to be a little noisy, so we are going to make ourselves a sound muffler. so that I don't have to listen to that noise all the time. Let's come over here. So there is a block underneath. This is sand. It will fall through if I just placed it there. And we're going to need our crucible. Goes right there. And we're going to grab some of this. Actually, this doesn't need to be on my bar. This doesn't need to be on my bar. What does need to be on my bar? You're going to need to be you as well. Okay. So I'm going to put one there. Make you always active. Make you an insert. And now it's going in there to make that stuff. So now we're going to take our hardened flux duct, put it down there, put one of these on, and set it to ignore redstone. So now it's going to automatically be shoving that in as fast as it can. This is set up deliberately so that I can expand it later, put down more heat sand, more crucibles, and run it along there. Once I put the upgrades in these things, they will need more of it. This is more than enough to cover all 10 for now. How many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have counted as I was going. 5. There we go. And you're going to need a flux duct, or not a flux duct, a servo. Now to place these things. Damn it. Come on, you should place properly. Yes. And then let's hope these place. We're going to have to build a wrench. Yes. They did. All right. If you're having trouble placing them, just build a wrench. Make yourself a wrench and do it that way. Now power is going to come like this. Now we're going to need to upgrade these. So you can see what I've been doing is when I put the upgrade on, it created this, and I put one of those in each one of them. Need to do it on the back side here. So now these things, it won't show up, but they can create 120 RF per tick. Notice how it's decreasing the amount it's producing all the time. As this goes up, it reduces. That's bad. So what we're going to do, there's a couple of ways to get around it. You can change something in the configs, or you can just put in some sort of power storage. So I'm going to put down one of these. Let's actually break that first. And I'll put an energy conduit down there. And I'll put one of these in place. And I'll hit it with a hardened upgrade. And let's see how this is set up. Yes! The bottom has that. And these are all, the blues are all for input. And let's deliberately set you so that you only insert on the top one there. All right. So now that these things are having all the power sucked out of them, they're doing a full 120 RF per tick all the time. Now let's count forward here a bunch, maybe right about here, I guess, is where I'm going to stick my atomic reconstructor. You know, that's not going to be able to stay there. That's going to have to move. And you can go there. Okay, so atomic reconstructor. And doesn't have any power yet, so it doesn't matter, but eventually it is. We need to hit it once with this. There, now it's on pulse mode. And we're going to take our lens of the miner and drop it on there. So you're kind of set. Then we're going to take our mechanical miner, put it there, and we're going to take our book and stick it inside. Then over here we're going to take one of those block placers. I'm going to place it there. So that's sort of the basics of how the setup's going to work. Now we're going to need to feed this stone. So how are we doing that? Well, we're going to take, and how am I going to do this right? We're going to take one of these, put it on there, and we're going to take our Igneous Extruder, whoops, power, and our Igneous Extruder, where is it? There it is. And it's going to need to output, actually let's turn all these off, output to that side. It's going to need to input water from the back, I guess. And you need to be set to stone. Now to input the water, what we're going to use is put that on there, and I'll grab a sink, and it can go right here actually. So now it's full of water. It's also going to need lava. So let's there. So once you got power, you'll start producing the stuff. All right. So that part is taken care of. Let's go down. I put it in an elevator. And take care of our power here. All right, now we got our power all around. Oh, you need, whoops, what did I just do? Oh, damn it, I don't have a wrench yet. I'll just get rid of you. Do it over again. Now, you need to ignore. You need to be insert. There. You have your stone being inserted. Now, to set this up for timing, we're going to do this all through timing rather than power. So I'm going to set one of these going that way, one of these going that way. And then I'm going to take some redstone, put it there and there, there. Oh, and rather than redstone over here, I am going to use my little, where's that thing? There it is. Does it place like this? I forget. No, it doesn't. It goes the other way. I may have to build a wrench if this messes up. To hell with it. I'm messing around. I want a crescent wrench. There, that solves the problem. Okay, so what happens here is I'm going to set this. I need an open hand. Don't need you now. My off delay, I'm setting it down to 2 ticks. 2 ticks means 1 game tick. These are redstone ticks. And I'm going to set this up to 40. Then over here, I'm going to do the same thing. Set that down to 2, this up to 40. So what happens is once I apply a redstone signal, it's going to go around that in a circle. And every 40 redstone ticks, so every 20 ticks, which is basically a second. So once every 2 seconds, actually, it's going to make the full circuit. I might have said that wrong. It doesn't matter. It goes around there in a circle. And to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to put in a lever here. That's our on-off for it. And we're going to put in a button here. That's just a reset button to get the whole thing started. All right, and then this thing here, we're going to set it up. Now notice the orange dot is at the bottom here, so orange is at the bottom. And we want A and C. So when both A and C have a signal, we want to send a signal out the orange one. Okay, so this has to be turned on for the system to work. I can shut it off by turning that lever off. Then what we're going to do is we're going to run redstone wire out here. We're going to put a redstone up on top of there so it gets a signal that way around. This one here is going to get a signal there. And then we're going to put our last one of these there. And we're going to set it down to down to 10. And it can get a signal like that. So now, is that all my timing? Yes, I think that's all my timing. But this thing's going to be coming up with stuff, and I'm going to need to put it somewhere. So let's take one of these, and I'll just plop it down somewhere. Plop it on top of there. And we'll take extract always. Insert. Okay, that part's taken care of. The other thing we're going to need to do is let's put a button on here for just now, just to this needs to be redstone on. Okay. Those ended up there. There. So that works. And we're going to put an absorption hopper up here. And it doesn't have to be this close, but it's convenient there. And we'll mark this as, actually no, I'm not going to do it up. I'm going to do it, what's this direction? South. I am going to put my quantum tank on top here, and we're going to set you south fluid. Yes, so that's connected to the quantum tank. All right. We don't need this button over here anymore. I can stay there, it doesn't matter. I think that's everything. So let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. It's not working. Why are you not breaking stuff? This looks like it's connecting to it, but it's not. Okay. Oh, what are you doing? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take you off completely. I'm going to move you. Where'd you go? Oh, you got sucked into there, didn't you? And we're going to put a redstone on top of here. Okay. Then we're going to put you were a nothing there. And put this up here. The problem with that is I can't get at the bottom of this one, so I'm going to have to go down below to fix this. And you're going to be always active. Now, if I had a Yeti wrench, I could get at it, but I need electric steel to do that, so I can't. Ooh, I'm going to need a stone slab. So it's right about there. Because otherwise I wouldn't be able to reach this. And you need to be an insert. Okay, let's try this again. Lever on, fire that up. Looks like it's working. Good. How are we doing on power? Well, this is full right now because these things have excess energy in them. So we'll see how it fares. I might be able to speed these up a little bit. I'm not sure how much. I'll have to just test it. But I'm going to be adding more power anyway, so they're going to start going faster later. But that is our Lens of the Miner setup. We're using timing instead. Now, I preferred it with the RF monitor because I could put this at the end of the line and it would soak up all the extra power in the network and do it that way. I probably wouldn't even needed the energy cube. Well, maybe. Still probably would have needed it. But that way I could put all the other machines that I need to make sure are powered up earlier on and then just give this all the excess. All right, so setting things up for next episode, we're going to want to be able to build some machines that involve plastics. So for that, we are going to need a tree fluid extractor, simple stuff to make, and a latex processing unit, simple stuff again. Notice how much quieter that is. So we're going to, how are we placing this stuff? I'm going to put the block placer here. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to shove a bunch of wood in it. So the wood's going to appear there. So we want our tree fluid extractor. Which way does it face? The opposite way? Yes, like that. Now, for the fluid, I'm going to need one of those. And coming out of the other thing, one of those. Okay. So fluid goes there. Oh, we're going to need... This thing doesn't need power, does it? No. But this thing is going to need power. We can actually all do it all from right here. And then the latex processing unit goes there. And it's being connected already to that. We can put down one of those, cover that up again. And in here it's got its water, and it's going to be getting its latex. That's all well and good. Then we're going to stick down one of these on there, and stick a... Okay, I want a drawer. And then this thing needs redstone signal, so we'll put that up there. And boom. It won't try to overwrite the block that's in its way. So it just gets the redstone signal every once in a while to try and place a new block. I prefer the actually addition ones, and I don't need the redstone signal. But this is making latex. The latex is coming over here. The latex is then turning it into the tiny dry rubber. And then we can start using plastics next episode to make other machines. All right. All of that's done. Last thing we're going to do this episode. We are going to make ourselves a portal to the void. One thing I want to get into next episode especially is agricraft, especially mystical agriculture. And at first, I'm probably going to use the overhead sprinklers from the mod because they're one of the easiest ways to speed things up. But the plants in general, and especially with the overhead sprinklers, create lots of visual lag. Even if I hit them behind a wall, the game doesn't check line of sight, so I have to put them in another dimension. So this looks like a great place to put stuff. I'm basically creating another island in a different dimension to use for it. Now, to the best of my knowledge, when I look at the configs, you can't even spawn mobs in this. So this looks like a really good one to work with. And let's just come up with a place to stick this. Let's put it over here somewhere. And then you just right click on that. And then we've got another tiny little island here to work with. And I can put all my automation type, well, basic it's going to be for plants. And sprinklers and all the other stuff can go over here. And then I can chunk load it with, well, how do you chunk load again? This, claim chunks. And then what do I have to do? Whoops, like that. And so it was shift left click to claim the chunks. So that'll keep them chunk loaded even while I'm back in the other world. For that matter, I should be doing the same thing over here. I don't think that I really should have done it for this already, and I don't think I did. I think I forgot that one in the episode when I was setting that up. No, I haven't. So actually, we don't need that one chunk loaded. Whoops. There. Things I really want chunk loaded are those. But we might as well just chunk load the whole thing. There we go. This also makes it so that this can't blow up. Or at least it's not supposed to be able to. We'll see. There's some weird mobs in this. I don't know what they all do. But there you have it. We've got our lens of the miner. I deliberately set that up instead of a sieving operation because I can get some different stuff. And to give you examples of some of the different stuff, we're getting black quartz ore as an example. And we're getting other things from nuclear craft and from abysmal craft and other stuff like that is going to show up. So it sounded like a good idea. The one reason I wasn't excited about setting up a sieving operation was I needed an automated way of coming up with dust. And through this for dust, Material Stoneworks Factory. Actually, they just added this in. I didn't know. That wasn't there before. So now we can use the Actually Additions Crusher to do it. Because otherwise I was going to have to set up hammers in like a mechanical user or something because the Material Stonework Factory needs pink slime to get there. So yeah, now that you can use the Actual Additions Crusher to do it, that's not so bad. I may set one of those up. Or I might do something different. We'll see. I need to think about it. But that's it for this episode. I hope you learned something new. Go out there and have some fun. Thanks.